What's up, guys? Caleb here. Hope you're doing well. Love ya. And I wanted to talk a little bit about a show that I've been watching a lot called. Sorry, it's so messy in the background, but Succession. I'll go like this. And Succession is a really great show for a lot of different things. I think recently it's been sort of going downward. I feel like they're on the verge of jumping the shark. And it's just, when you can kind of tell that they're dragging things out. There's a lot of like scenes where it's just like a car driving around and they pull in and they get out and walk to the office. And the stuff that's like in a movie would be cut out or else like shortened generally. But that's the negative. Now we'll go to the positive. Actually, let me finish up with the negative. They make it look like let me switch the background. That's much better. Okay, so they make it look like I think people are much more involved than generally people are. I don't know. I don't think I could name like a child of any CEO, or even if it's like, I think they make a little bit of kind of comparison to Rupert Murdoch, because apparently his family is involved with his business, but I don't know the names of any of these people, and I don't know how of his children or his wife or whatever, and they make it seem as though it's super public and these things, and I think that to a degree, some people maybe are plugged in and know that, but I think it's such a small amount of the population that they play it up a little in the show. But it is art, and you want people to watch things. And also, the last criticism I have is that I know Adam McKay, the director, and he does always like phenomenal work in terms of cinematography and storytelling and all these things, but he plugs in a lot of kind of his own political opinion, and I wish I could talk with him because he seems like a pretty sensible, reasonable guy. I'm surprised that he seems to be so trusting of the Democratic Party, and I'm fairly independent, but I'd say the main thing is that I can see where both parties are pretty clearly on the side of keeping the wealthy, and not having any sort of help for the poor. And a great video just came out from that from the New York Times. I wish I had the title on. Oh, here it is. It's called Liberal Hypocrisy is Fueling American Inequality, Here's How. And it's basically not in my backyard syndrome, where people want these things and programs for poor people, but not near them. So since the wealthy people control most of the governmental issues, nobody ever helps because people always want the poor to be helped, but they don't want it to come from their funds or be in their neighborhood or whatever. Anyway, trailing off, gonna get back to the main thing. I see like some little tidbits I can go into details I guess I'll say one now. In the most recent episode, which is episode 5 of season 3, they kept saying, and they kind of made it pronounced in 2 screens on the what is it, ATN network, which is the network of the main character Logan Roy and most of the rest of the characters, saying, questioning the president's capacity to lead and his how I forgot the exact quotes that they said in the video, but sort of questioning his mental ability and things like this. And this is what is going on in the news right now with Biden. And I think it's quite disingenuous to not admit that there's some things that he says. There's a lot of things that he says, especially recently, that called into question. He just called a black man a Negro, which has been frowned upon for, I don't know, certainly since I was born. So I mean, to not call into question at least what's going on in his head is, to me, not honest. So anyway, now the criticism is done, finally. So to get into the positive things, and just oh my gosh, quick going back. Someone might say, oh, that's just showing the news network. But in terms of the show, then they're portraying this guy as being just an opportunist and not showing honest news. And just trying to exploit whatever he can. And so they're comparing this fictional guy with reality of the news outlets that say that question the president's mental capacity right now, and they're saying the same thing in the show, and they're portraying whoever says that as being just an opportunist and not trying to show the truth of the matter. Whereas in real life, I think you're just not honest if you're not seeing that. If you're claiming that it's fine to call people Negroes now, in this day and age, then you're just lying. So anyway, now hopefully officially we're done with the negative. Getting the positive. Positive is the cinematography is great, the kind of feel of the show. Starting out, I felt like the dialogue was really great, and in the last season or two, it's been kind of weird, and I feel like a bit too overt. And I feel like they changed the character too much, whereas Kendall Roy started out as being just like an okay businessman, but not like that good, and then but he at least wasn't like cringy. And people do change over time, and people he was in a situation where he's trying to fight for his life, so I understand that. But I felt like they're hitting it a little bit too hard, where he's always going around saying like, yeah, cringy stuff. Whereas in like the first season, it was just more like off-putting. So anyway, I'm sorry, I went in a negative again. But it's the dialogue is often kind of nuanced and the layered, and it's not just a straightforward normal type of back and forth. I think that the first episode where Tom Wanzgans presents a watch to Logan as a present, and he sort of is stumbling over his words and not sure what to say, and that's not usual. Like the way he kind of presents it is not usual. They weren't playing it up for this like big comedic thing, although it was like it had a comedic tone to it. So that's another thing, is like the tones is like it won't be way over the top. Like I said, the Kendall being kind of cringy, I thought was a bit over the top, but in terms of like the other example I gave of the Tom giving the watch, it didn't seem over the top. It seemed like he was trying to give this present, but then he didn't really know how to say it really well. And anyway, it seemed like how humans can really come across. I like the subject matter a lot, and I think it's I wish it was kind of talked about more. This sort of American corporate culture, and then to me, one way that we could get rid of most of the inequality in the world is if we somehow got rid of inheritance, at least like very wealthy inheritance. Something over like even something that I think would be perceived as very high, like a few $1,000,000, uh, you know, somebody can get by, can get like get all their education paid for. They could probably buy a house. Um, they could just a decent sized house to live in most of the country. A car, insurance, and they can take care of everything they pretty much need with a couple $1,000,000. So I think anything over this in terms of inheritance, I think if we could legislate away, it would solve most of the problems, because that way people would genuinely be working for what they have, for the most part, instead of just getting it and then just sitting on the money and just living off of it and through their whole life and not contributing anything to society. So I just think people should be more kind of looking at the facts of the situation, and because some people work really hard and they've come from nothing, and I think those people should be able to keep their money. But anyway, I'm kind of drifting from the main subject. Succession, and yeah, like I said, I think it hits on the main point. Shoot, I'm trying to think of some other like positives. I tend to keep critiquing, but I do like the show a lot. So at least I really did. I'd say I won't give any spoilers away, but there are some good turns in the show, and particularly in the second season. I won't even say where, but it was maybe one of the most impressive turns I've ever seen. It definitely took me off guard, and I was really excited about it. I feel kind of like I'll try to end positive. So yeah, like I said, the turns, and I like that they use a lot of legitimate corporate things that can happen. I hope that they take the show in a direction of kind of more growth, and not, maybe them taking over and expanding and things like this, and not just, I feel like it's gone on for most of the show now, this sort of, if the company's in trouble, how do they stay afloat, how do they keep control of the company, and these types of things, and more towards sort of expansion, and then maybe, I don't know, either ending the season, ending the show in 4 or 5 seasons or something, or else, I don't know, expand and try to have someone take the role and become the successor, and then have their position become in jeopardy or whatever, some sort of other expansion. So anyway, it's just sharing some of my thoughts about it, and it is there are some gross things, I don't know how to say, but if you just looking for like a wholesome show, definitely not for you, because there's some I don't know how to describe other than I'm trying to think of the word, but if you can ignore those things and you're looking for something that's sort of technical but also has a few laughs, or like it's not too serious all the time, it's probably one of the best shows I could recommend. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one. God bless.